Energy is one of the most important things in the world. It's what runs society, it's what runs people's lives. You can't cook without it, you can't walk or drive without it, and you can't use technology without it. Energy is crucial to your freedom. If you do not have access to it, you are tied down, and most importantly, if you are able to access it, it's at a rising cost. You basically spend your whole life chasing that energy to do other things, such as working the job to pay for more energy. It becomes a loop. And while humans are in the loop of obtaining energy, we are being told things like it's going away, there's not enough, and we're using too much, or we're destroying the climate with it. And it's causing wars and death. This is one of the first lies of energy, and it's the first lie in the context of the state of the world. It's all that's needed to kickstart you into total loss of sovereignty and a state of surveillance. And as we follow the rabbit hole deeper in this video, it should show you that without a doubt, you are 100% being treated as cattle and not as someone with freedom. It's pretty simple, really. So let's dive into the two-tiered energy system that is being set up right in front of our eyes. One tier for the rulers and one tier for the civilians. Starting out with the lie. The mainstream narrative has been stating for years now that legacy electric grids are unstable, carbon-heavy, and face an existential resource crisis. Climate crisis is the primary mechanism used to accelerate the transition away from stable fossil fuel plants. By labeling these plants as carbon liabilities, the state creates a social and regulatory climate where tearing down functional power plants is viewed as a virtue rather than a failure. Have you seen all the emission warnings when you buy a plane ticket or just set a route on Google Maps? This creates the energy void that the new grid is designed to fill. The prescribed solution is a massive, highly publicized transition to variable energy sources, primarily solar, wind, and industrial solar panel arrays. These new sources do not provide a steady baseload of power like fossil fuel plants. They introduce to the grid uncertainty. Will the sun shine that day? Does the wind blow hard enough? This structural instability requires a centralized authority to balance, throttle, and ration electricity to prevent cascading failures. By forcing civilians and small businesses to rely on an inherently unstable, weather-dependent grid, energy prices scale upward when reliability drops. This creates an economic ceiling that limits domestic baseline autonomy. Then comes the partial truth of the energy crisis. First off, on a subject I won't bother explaining, as it's been done a million times and everyone has already set their opinions on it in stone, is the idea that fossil fuels are killing our world and we don't have enough of them. This, in my opinion, is obviously false. It's just another form of handcuffing you. However, I do believe that there is somewhat of an energy crisis, not because of our climate, but because of AI. The partial truth is put into more perspective when you introduce things like AI and potentially technology that we're not even aware of. As you've likely heard before, AI data centers require firm power such as fossil fuels. A single large data center can consume as much electricity as a mid-sized city. As these data centers ramp up and are built in more excess, they effectively will be forcing the remaining residential and commercial users onto the more volatile, variable remainder of energy like the solar panels. Or they'll have to pay a fortune for the steadier fossil energy. So the energy crisis has nothing to do with climate. It has to do with AI servers, the surveillance state, and more importantly, with the energy crisis, is that we still need energy. It just can't be consumed by humans, it must be consumed by the AI. But still, the problem isn't solved. We are still in a crisis. AI still doesn't have the energy, and the energy is getting bogged down by regulatory hurdles and inefficiency from the legacy grid of fossils and variable energy. This is where the nuclear supply chain comes in. What was the easiest answer to fixing the energy crisis debate we've been having for the last 30 plus years now? Nuclear energy. But why haven't we gone down this route yet? Well, I think it's easy to say. With nuclear energy, people could be paying cents for their energy bills. In comparison to the fossil and variable energy grids, it would be free. It would give people freedom, less stress, and more accessibility. This is why it's not been done until AI. The partnership between Palantir and Centrus, who is the only company allowed to enrich uranium that can then be used to create nuclear power, and the partnership with Palantir and Nuclear Company to launch the nuclear operating system, represents the creation of a private sector nuclear supply chain. Palantir's platform integrates their entire life cycle of nuclear plant construction, from uranium enrichment from Centrus to regulatory compliance and project controls under a single proprietary data architecture. The AI is controlling and running its own energy supply. These projects also are classified as national security imperatives to compete with China. This framing allows for the rapid, expedited deployment of nuclear capacity that is legally and physically tethered to the hyperscale infrastructure, like AI factories, rather than the civilian grid. The nuclear power is being produced, but the civilians do not have access. We could have free energy. They are restarting nuclear energy programs, but it's all for AI surveillance, not for human civilians. The surveillance state and government have their own power grid, and civilians get their legacy grid, which restricts their lives. The atom is not being split to free the citizen, it is being split to fuel the machine that monitors us. So, we are in a two-tiered energy grid, one for humans and one for AI, surveillance, and war. Tier 1 is for the machine, a closed-loop, nuclear-backed, firm power network managed by AI-driven software. This tier is dedicated to high compute state, defense, and intelligence assets. And the second tier, for the civilians, is an unstable, variable, and increasingly expensive network assigned to our general population. This grid is characterized by demand response throttling and higher costs, keeping the consumer base within a managed energy footprint. I believe that this is the smoking gun that civilians and almost all humans are being treated as slaves and cattle. Instead of using nuclear power to free you, it is being used to surveil you. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching the video. If you liked it, do all like the liking slop and the subscribing stuff and the stupid commenting slop. If you're more interested in like the AI surveillance stuff that I kind of touch on in this video, I would suggest watching my series about Palantir. But yeah, thanks for watching guys. Thank you so much for the support and stuff I've been getting on the videos, and yeah, bye.